In this video, we're going to be talking about a major uptick in severe weather expected between now and the beginning of June. As you can see here, some of these models that look deeper into the future, like the CFS V2 Accumulated Supercell Composite Parameter, paint a picture that suggests that we're going to continue to see an increase in severe weather as we go forward. Now, is it going to be like what we saw towards the beginning of May and the end of April? There's no way of knowing that right now, but the signals are there for more severe weather outbreaks. This is showing us a pretty active period between right now and May 22nd. It doesn't slow down after that. We've got May 23rd through May 29th also showing a hot spot here in the plains. And then, of course, as we go all the way out to week 3, May 30th through June 5th, we continue to see signals for some severe weather from Texas over through the mid-Mississippi River Valley and, of course, down into the deep south. Now, we are going to talk a lot more about that right here in a minute, but before we go too far into the future, let's talk about what's going on right now and tomorrow for everybody that might be concerned with the more immediate severe weather threat. Here's a look at satellite. Okay, we've got storms popping off right now down here in the southern plains because we've got that return of southern flow here. We've got a lot of moisture coming into the plains, and this is going to cause several problems. First of all, today we do have an enhanced risk of severe weather down here in Texas. Most of this will be occurring south of Dallas, but there's still going to be some storms in the Dallas-Fort Worth region as well. Hail and wind are going to be the biggest threats here outside of the rain. Okay, we have a very rare high risk of excessive rainfall down here in extreme eastern Texas, down into western portions of Louisiana. The moderate risk goes all the way back into the DFW region over towards southwestern Mississippi. This is going to lead to an incredible amount of flooding down here, especially in that pink zone. Once again, that's as rare as and as serious as a high risk of severe weather. We could have life-threatening flash flooding associated with our storms today. And we will dive more into that as well right here in a minute. But first, we also have to talk about tomorrow. Okay, we've got a slight risk of severe weather from Louisiana up into Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. That moderate risk of excessive rainfall is going to follow this as well. Tomorrow, I think we've got a really good chance of some severe weather, and we've actually got a tornado threat as well. 5% there in the brown, 2% in the green, all the way up to the Tennessee border almost. And of course, all the way out on Sunday, May 19th, we've got a day 4, slight risk of severe weather back here in Nebraska and Kansas we're going to be looking at very closely. Okay, so let's take a look at what the radar could look like as we go into the future, just kind of looking at the whole nation first, and then we'll dive into some of the areas of interest. We've got that big area of storms that's going to be going through Dallas this morning, and then this afternoon and evening, we're going to see a prolific severe weather outbreak likely down here in Texas, mostly in the form of wind and hail, and of course, flash flooding. That's going to be a big deal down there. We're also going to see some storms up here in the Midwest, up towards the Great Lakes region as well. Some storms will be possible up there in the northern plains up towards Canada, but none of that is going to be quite as intense as the strong storms that'll be making their way into the New Orleans region around 3 a.m. as we go into tomorrow morning. And then, of course, we are going to see an uptick in new storms back there near Houston as we go into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow. That's going to cause our next severe weather risks down here in the deep south, and this is where I think a little bit more of a tornado threat's going to kick in down here as well. This might spark a live stream from us, but right now it doesn't seem like it. Remember that criteria is going to be a 10% hatched risk of tornadoes from the SPC, but in the meantime, we're just going to keep you updated in videos like this. But yeah, those southern storms are really the main thing that we're watching right now. And remember, if we zoom in down here towards Texas, these storms today are going to be really intense, capable of producing baseball to softball size hail and just really prolific rain. I'm concerned about Round Rock to College Station, all the way over there towards Lufkin and Natchitoches in Louisiana. All of you guys are going to be hit by these supercells and these clusters of storms over and over again, and that's going to lead to, once again, some big time flash flooding. So get ready today between noon, and it probably won't be done until well into the early morning hours tomorrow. Looking even further into the future, this is the little disturbance that's causing our flooding and our severe weather in the near term. What happens beyond that? We've got that return of southern flow. Remember, we've also got a little bit of an extended jet stream coming from the north here, so we've got plenty of cool air and warm air mixing with each other, and that is going to kind of channel together and create this one big flow of air in the 500 millibar level from southwest to northeast as we go through the end of May. And this is a very common severe weather setup, okay? Now, this pattern doesn't typically lead to major severe weather outbreaks. It's not going to be like a mega trough situation where we have giant severe weather outbreaks, kind of like we saw towards the end of April, but this can lead to several little mesoscale incidents where we have small scale or regional severe weather outbreaks. Look at this little divot here on Tuesday, May 21st. That's plenty plenty enough lift there for some strong storms to occur in Texas and Kansas up into maybe Missouri, Iowa later. And then there's another little divot that comes in after that and another little divot. So this kind of pattern is actually pretty concerning and might lead to more severe weather than what we would typically see if we saw those mega troughs coming through. Now, as we go towards the beginning of June, at least this model is showing a little bit more ridging. This would maybe lead to an increase of severe weather from the Great Lakes region down into the northeast and maybe lead to some nicer weather over here towards the western plains. But this is just one model and we really can't trust what it says beyond a certain point. I am really looking for this period right here between right now and maybe May 23rd. That's when I'm really kind of locked into the pattern that it's showing here, and I'm pretty sure this is exactly what we're going to be seeing with that southwest to northeast flow and those little divots in the jet stream that cause their own little mesoscale storm incidents, and we're going to see tornadoes and hail and all that stuff as a result of that. Another thing we can look at here is the Cape. We've got convective available potential energy that's going to be really abundant here in the plains as we go through a lot of May. Look at May 20th, we get a big surge there. Right before that next little divot, we get a big surge there on May 21st. That's going to be interacting with that trough as it comes through on May 24th. Look at that, maybe 5,000 to 6,000 joules per kilogram of Cape out here in the plains, ready to be taken advantage of by one of those little divots in the jet stream there. And this pattern is just going to continue well into early June. So basically, if you're new here and you don't know what these colors are, the brighter and the more concerning looking the colors, the more storm fuel there's going to be out there. Okay, so whenever we get those little divots coming through in the jet stream and we have stuff like this waiting for it to interact with, then we know that we're getting ready to get some big time severe weather. Here's a big overview of where we expect the most rainfall to fall between now and June 1st. Essentially, if you are in an orange or red area, we expect several rounds of rain and maybe even thunderstorms for your zone as we go through the next couple of weeks. Okay, so you can see there's a couple of hot spots here, the southern plains down into the southeast, maybe up here towards the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. This is where we're going to see a little bit of focusing in on that energy that comes along with that southwest flow, and this is where we might see some more storms. But everybody is going to see some sort of storm or rain activity except for the southwest. I mean, there's really not much going on at all over here. Temperature outlook between 6 days from now and 10 days from now continues to show very hot temperatures down here in the south. We're going to be burning up down here for the foreseeable future, and things are going to start cooling off significantly in the west and northwest. Once again, this pattern is another thing that leads me to believe that we're going to see a lot of severe weather where those two air masses interact with each other. When cold air meets warm air, what did we learn in second grade? We get tornadoes, right? It's not that simple, but you know, it is one of the ingredients. So whenever we see a pattern like this in May, we do have to be concerned about severe weather. So that's all the weather talk I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, there's a chance that we go live tomorrow. If I don't go live tomorrow, I'll probably have another video. Also, get ready for the new Y'all Squad video, our Y'all Squad efforts in Nebraska, Iowa, and around Sulphur, Oklahoma. We're pretty much finished with what we're doing out there, and we're getting ready to release a video about that. It's a really good video, and if you donated, you're going to want to see that. There's a YouTube channel called the Y'all Squad. We'll put a link in the description. Make sure you go subscribe to that, and we should have that video out tomorrow or the next day. Thank you so much for allowing us to do what we do with the Y'all Squad. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh.